Rejection is something that we all face as human beings. If we interact with some other human being, at some point we end up getting rejected. But we're not taught on how we can handle rejection, how to deal with rejection. And sometimes it can end up leaving us intense traumas. And if you don't know how to process these traumas, it's gonna be a lifelong scar. And in this video, I want to talk about how we can deal with rejection, how we can overcome rejection, and not only that, how we can make it a superpower moving forward so we can leverage it to take some great actions. If you're interested, stay tuned. Welcome back to this video. My name is Rab and I love to coach people so they can become the most empowered version of themselves. Especially when it comes to issues like rejection, we all get stuck, right? Because we feel a lot less worthy than who we really are. So if we don't know how to process rejection and how to deal with it, we're gonna go ahead and create more and more problems in our lives. And rejection is hurtful to the degree of how much we are attached to something or someone. For example, if you are in a dating situation and you're really attached to the other person, that rejection is gonna feel a lot more bitter than if you were just like asking direction to somebody random on the street and they just didn't bother to give you an answer. And rejection can be very painful. It might almost feel like an attack to our well-being. And I wanted to share with you how we can deal with rejection, how we can overcome it very smoothly. It's just a matter of like reframing it. And before I go on to give you the solution, it's a very simple solution. I wanted to share a quick story with you. When I was in college, I was an international student and I had a scholarship that was only valid until 2 years. But after that, it ran off. Like I had to pay like out-of-state tuition fees, which is like double than normal what people pay here. So our department head of films called me one day to his office and he told me about this great opportunity, great scholarship that was coming on. And he knew about my situation, so he kind of set up an interview for me. The department head also told me that I was like the best candidate out of there because there weren't actually a lot of participants. So when I went there, I was like all excited and pumped up. I thought I was going to this one-on-one interview, but when I got there, it was like a room full of people in a conference room. After a few questions, it just started feeling like they're trying to test me a lot, and it started almost feeling like an attack, you know. Although I did not lose my cool, there was some like random questions and they were telling me like, okay, if you had to make this movie and we asked you to switch all these things, would you be doing it or not, you know? As an art student, I thought that, okay, the obvious answer would be I wouldn't compromise, you know, my art for anything else, you know, because that would mean losing my integrity. And I answered it in the same fashion. I don't know, after that everything got even more sour, you know. I also had some doubts. By this point I wasn't as confident as when I went into the interview, but what I realized was I didn't get the scholarship later on, and that really tore me apart. And in fact, the person who actually told me I didn't get the scholarship, he sent me an email and he told me the reason I didn't get the scholarship was because I wasn't flexible enough for this. It felt pretty disheartening, you know, and I'm here like really struggling to pay bills for my college, like even before when I had scholarship. But now I have to pay probably about like 15 grand a semester, and I didn't know how to get that kind of money, you know. So after that incident, I started becoming very bitter. I started resenting the whole education system, and I just was ready to give up college. But right then and there, I was able to reframe rejection. So what I did was, instead of like being resentful and giving up, I decided to go and find a higher paying job. And I didn't know it was possible before because I was just getting paid like the minimum of minimum wages until now. And another great discovery that I made because of this rejection was I found out that I was a free soul. And prior to this incident, I thought that I was gonna go and work for somebody else right after college. And I was also thinking of applying to different studios around town. But that's when I realized like I'm not meant to be a career-driven person. I'd be better with business. But after this, it just kind of ignited this entrepreneur kind of spirit in me, which I had never experienced in my life before. I guess you could call, like, being in bands, like that's some kind of entrepreneurship, but I'm talking about actually creating a business. I had never had that kind of ideas. I have nobody else in my family who does business and this kind of things, right? Fast forward, like, after maybe 5 years now, I am an entrepreneur and I run my own business. I haven't worked for anybody else for past 3-4 years now. That incident kind of shaped my life to become who I am today. And that's what I wanted to share with you in this video. So I have 2 ways of going about rejection right here. Always, always, always take rejection as feedback. Even if you don't get answers, still take it as feedback, because it is saying something about the other person as well as yourself. So the first way is to go about it is, especially if you really want this thing or someone, you take it as a feedback, learn from it, and make yourself better along the way. And when you come back, you're just gonna be the perfect fit for the situation. And the second way is to move on towards something that you're more resonating with. So that's what I did, on my own case, because I found something else that I was passionate about. Even though that rejection was hurtful, it did teach me a lesson in some ways, right? Sometimes we human beings, we think that we're not just capable of achieving something good in our lives, and especially when we get rejected, we just completely shut ourselves and we stop pursuing them altogether. But what I want you to think of is, think of yourself as coal that gets like decompressed with the sands, and it takes years and years and years to build. You still don't get broken down. In fact, when you come out, you become as shiny as diamond. That's the way you can reframe rejection as, because you come out more resilient. The only thing you have to do is just reframe it. Don't take it as something that's gonna be hurtful throughout the years. Of course, it is gonna sting a little bit, but you just don't get stuck in there. You're gonna move on from there towards something that's gonna better your life, or come to the same situation after you've grown a lot along the way. And that's how you deal with rejection. I hope this video was of some help to you guys, and if you thought you got some value out of it, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and leave a comment and also thumbs up below. And with that being said, guys, I want to wish you all the very best. Goodbye and namaste.